Welcome back, everyone. This is 3.3 Importing Libraries, where we're going to learn about using the time and random library, and we're going to start by reviewing the math library, which you may have already come across when you needed to use square root. So let's start by making a new file. I'm just going to call it importing libraries.py. So now I know what's here. It's going to be importing libraries, and as we were doing the rest of this unit, imports, which we are going to have imports this time. First, I'm going to import math because we're going to use some math. I'm going to leave some space because I know I'm going to add some more stuff, and then I could have functions here, and then my main code. Okay. So my function, I could make a new function here. You know what? Let's import math and let's just do some main code here. You know what? I'm actually going to avoid functions this time. Just to teach you the basic concepts because I don't want to put a hat on a hat, so to say. Let's start with math. So if I want to do some math, I could do math dot, and then there's a bunch of things that come up here. There's power is non-existent, arc cos, there's so many other things, cos, tan, distance, degrees. So by default, when you give Python a measurement of an angle, it's in radians, you have to say it's in degrees. It's a whole thing. There's so much here, so much in this library. Let's just focus on square root. So square root is just sqrt, and I want to know the square root of 9. So now I can run this, and it will find the square root of 9 for me, which is 3. Perfect. We can use the math library, and I'm not going to teach you everything in the math library because I honestly wouldn't have the time, but you can use this to learn trig or to help you learn trig. Remember, with great power comes great responsibility, and you don't want to cheat on your math homework because it will come back to get you when you go to write a test or a quiz. But this is such an awesome tool to teach you how to make a calculator and perform calculations very, very quickly if you need to. With that said, that pretty much covers what I want to do with the math library. Let's use other functions from different libraries. Let's look at the time library. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to comment out this and this, and I'm going to do the time library. So I'm going to import time. So time is a really cool library because it helps kind of create more of a, how do I put it, an aesthetic to your program. So instead of everything being instant all the time, you can pause, you can time things to determine how long something takes. There's so many different things you can do with time that can help, like especially if you decide you want to make a game. This is a great library. So I'm going to do for I in range 1 to 6, but not including 6, time.sleep. And let's do 2 seconds because this is video and I don't want to take up all of your time. Print I. Okay, I'm going to save and I'm going to run my Python file. So now what's going to happen is every 2 seconds, 1, 2, should print 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. There we go. So it's just going to keep printing a new number every 2 seconds because I told the computer to sleep for 2 seconds. So that just means basically pause for 2 seconds or delay for 2 seconds, then print. All right. So kind of like how we use a debugger, it pauses the whole program. Time.sleep will actually delay it. Be very careful about how much you use this in your projects because when your teacher goes to mark your projects, they have to mark about 30 different things. So if everyone's delaying them 1 second, that's a whole half minute there. Or if everyone delays them 2 seconds and there's 30 students, that's a whole minute already they're being delayed. So be very mindful of that. For teachers out there, use Control F, time.sleep, and you can replace it with hashtag. And then that'll just, you could do hashtag time.sleep so that you can tell it was there. Okay? And then that'll comment out all your time.sleeps. And same goes for students. You can do that in reverse. You could find all the hashtags and uncomment them out before you submit them. If you want to add delay, but you don't want to go through it every time you're testing it, you can comment it out temporarily. Just make sure you make note of it in like a to-do list so that you know to fix that before you hand it in. All right. With that said, we know how to delay. Now, let's do a timer. Okay, so a timer, unlike how you might think this will work, because a timer for most people is like you hit a start button, a stop button, and then it tells you how much time has passed. That's essentially what we're going to do, but it's not going to like show a constant update on the time. So I'm just going to do time.performance counter. And what this does is it gets the current system time by like millisecond. So that's going to be very, very accurate. Whoa, I don't know what I pressed there, but opened the wrong thing. For I in range of 5, so I want 5 times input, and I'm not going to catch it in a sorry, just give me a second. Let's do an F string. 5 minus I, 5 minus I. There we go. Now it's an F string. 5 minus I times left. There we go. So what I'm doing is I'm getting a start time. I'm going to have them enter or press enter 5 times and see how long that takes them. And that's what that for loop is. End equals time dot performance counter. And then I can print, I'm going to use an F string. You took end minus start. Need some spaces in there to make it look nice. Seconds. Okay, so now I'm just timing how long it takes them to press enter 5 times, and this will tell them their current counter, how many times they need to press. Let's try it out. I might have messed things up. Okay, 5 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to wait a little bit just to have the timer increase, and then I'm going to press enter. Okay, it took me 10.257 seconds approximately, so that's really, really neat how it can time it. So you can use this to determine how long it takes someone to maybe complete a quiz or complete a question or complete a task, and then you can determine if you need to like spawn something new, or you need to update the level or update their score based off of that. So there's so many different things you can use time for, and it's a lot of fun. Okay, let's go on to the third topic, and that's the random library. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to comment this out, and I'm going to comment out all of this for now, and I'm going to import random. So random's a lot of fun, and this is where like you start to introduce a lot of game mechanics. But for today, we're just going to roll a dice. So it is still a game mechanic, but it's not being used in any sort of context. So for I in range 10, I'm just going to roll a dice 10 times. So random dot rand int. We want random integer because dice don't usually have decimals on them. Print the roll. Okay, so I'm going to roll this 6-sided die from 1 to 6. Is going to generate a random number from 1 to 6, and I'm going to do that 10 times, and I'm going to print out each roll. So I'm going to run this, and there's all of my rolls. We can see I got a 1 there, I got a 6 there, so it's completely random, and I could do it again, and it should be different. It ended with 2, but the second last one was 2, so yeah, that's different already. Yeah, so that's how you can do random dice rolling. There's also random.sample. There's so many different things, but we're just going to focus on rolling dice for today. So random.randint will let you roll dice. If you want to import differently, this is also very useful. So right now, if I'm only going to use randint from random, I can do this. From random import randint. And then I can get rid of this line. And then instead of having to do random.randint, I already said randint is from random, and I'm just going to import it from that library. So from randint, or from random, import randint, and now I can just type that like that. Nice and simple, and that works with time as well. Since I only use one thing for time, I could have done from time import perf counter. And the same thing for math. You can use this for all libraries. You could import all if you do from random import star. So it looks something like this. So let me just use time. So from time import star. Now you want to be careful with importing star because some libraries will have the same command. If you import the wildcard here too many times, sometimes you'll have an overlap and the computer won't know which command you want to use. So I advise against using that more than once. And most senior developers will recommend that you avoid that as much as possible because it can cause problems down the road. Especially if you have multiple files and you start importing different things. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Next time, we're going to look at custom libraries, how to make your own library with your own functions. And before that, make sure you do your 3.3 daily activities, and I will catch you in the next one.